Hey guys, welcome back to another Clash Royale video, and today we're talking about the next round of balance changes in Clash Royale. When is it coming? What do we know for sure will be in there, as well as what do I hope to see changed? Now, when is the next balance update coming? Well, we already know that the first Monday of every month after season reset is the balance update day, which would make Monday, October the 1st, the next day of balance changes, which is roughly about a week or so away from today. I wouldn't be surprised if this Friday, September 28th, they posted the official list of balance changes, as normally they post the balance changes the Friday beforehand. Now, what do we know for sure will be in the next balance update? Well, in case you guys didn't know, over the weekend, they ran a little poll over here asking the community for their opinion as to what they wanted to see included in the balance update. They already had 7 changes locked in for the October balance update, but they were looking for an 8th. Now, in the poll list here, guys, these were the options that we had. We had Ice Wizard buff, World Recruit buff, Inferno Tower buff, as well as a buff to the Bomber. Now, a couple of days before that poll, the Rumham, in case you guys didn't know, he is like their main balance guy at Clash Royale. He posted on Twitter saying that they were going to be posting a poll with 4 options, all buffs to weak cards. Now, that's important, guys. Remember those exact words right there, all buffs to weak cards. So we had the official poll right here, which was Ice Wizard buff, World Recruits, Inferno Tower, and Bomber. That ran over the weekend. It officially ended a couple of hours ago, and the official results are in. The Ice Wizard is getting buffed in the October update with a 0.5 second longer slow. Now, here's the crazy thing, guys. The Ice Wizard is already a top tier strong card in Clash Royale. Pulling up some stats here provided by RoyaleAPI.com. The Ice Wizard in Grand Challenges has an 11% use rate and a 52% win rate, which is extremely healthy. Remember, they said they were posting 4 buffs to weak cards. I don't know how the Ice Wizard is considered a weak card when you have the World Recruits with a 0% use rate and a 35% win rate. That is absolutely crazy. I've been trying over the past couple of days to understand as to why the Ice Wizard was included on that list, and I just can't come up with it. Now, the Remham also posted on his Twitter over here, guys, about the Mega Knight. Somebody asked about Mega Knight, and his response was, I believe, Mega Knight is pretty healthy, no change coming in October. However, looking at the stats here, guys, of the Mega Knight, according to RoyaleAPI.com, it has a 4% use rate and a 42% win rate. Somehow, that is considered healthy, whereas the Ice Wizard with 3 times as much use rate and a much healthier win percentage is considered buff worthy. Like, it just literally makes no sense to me. I've been trying so hard over the past couple of days to understand why the Ice Wizard buff is a priority, and I just can't understand. Now, just to clarify here, guys, I don't blame the community at all for voting for the Ice Wizard. In my opinion, the reason it won is because the Ice Wizard is a legendary card, and it's a pretty cool card. Let's be honest, Ice Wizard is a cool card in Clash Royale, which I think is why people voted for it. However, when you have a card like Royal Recruits that have been so bad ever since they were nerfed into Oblivion, into 8 Elixir, I don't know how the Royal Recruit to 7 Elixir change wasn't one of the already guaranteed 7 other changes in the balance update. Like, almost everyone that I talked to agrees that the Royal Recruits should have been nerfed to 7 Elixir since the beginning, although I do understand why. You know, they had CRL season starting up very soon. They didn't want Royal Recruits being everywhere, so they nerfed them to 8. I understand that, but what I don't understand is now almost waiting until November to have the change that we should have had back in July. I just don't understand it, guys. I don't understand why the Ice Wizard was ever included on the buff list when it's already a strong card, especially since they said Mega Knight is already pretty healthy, with the Ice Wizard being even stronger than that. Why was it ever included on the list? And I've gone through and read like all of the responses to the Twitter post by Clash Royale saying that the Ice Wizard was the update coming out soon, and all of them, like almost all of them, agree the Ice Wizard is already a strong card. Why is it getting changed? I'm not alone in this, guys. Almost everyone in the community agrees the Ice Wizard is already strong. Why is it getting buffed? So anyways, guys, that is what we know for sure. The Ice Wizard will get buffed in the October update with a 0.5 second longer slow. Now, the reality of it is is that is a very insignificant change, because as is right now, the Ice Wizard attacks faster than the slow wears off, so he already permanently slows whatever he's attacking. So you will only ever notice the longer slow whenever the Ice Wizard dies or retargets, which is such a small, insignificant change. Which, once again, I don't know why they would prioritize a small, insignificant change like that to an already strong card when they have other cards in Clash Royale like Royal Recruits, which are almost unusable in the game right now. Now, I messaged to Supercell if for whatever reason you are watching. First of all, I'm sorry for complaining and for ranting. I just do it because I'm passionate about this game. If at all possible, please add the buff to the Royal Recruits in this balance update as well. I don't think there's any rule that you can only have 8 changes in the balance update. Make everyone in the community happy, buff the Royal Recruits, and buff the Ice Wizard as well. And that way, everyone that voted on the poll won't be mad. We get the Royal Recruit buff, but we also get the bonus of a small, insignificant quality of life improvement to the Ice Wizard as well. But anyways, guys, that's what we know so far is coming in the balance update in October. Ice Wizard buff, no Mega Knight buff, and Royal Recruits, I have no idea. Sorry about the mini rant over there. I just can't understand why the Ice Wizard would get a buff. Alright, so with that being over, guys, let's go ahead and move on to my wish list of balance changes that I want to see in the October update. I've got a list right here on my phone. I'm going to go ahead and start reading off to you. So we have number 1 is Minion Horde spawn delay. So right now, the Minion Horde, when it spawns into the arena, each minion spawns after the previous one, which makes it very hard to be good with your predictive spells or like Fire Spirits, for example. Because if you use arrows too early, you'll only catch like the first like couple of minions. And the Minion Horde is such a powerful card that if you miss a few, it is way too strong. And the Minion Horde was kind of already a strong card, and I think they meant that initial kind of spawn delay change to be a nerf, but it actually kind of works out as a buff in some situations as well. So what I would do is I would have the same spawn delay with the Minion Horde, but have the entire Minion Horde on the arena at the start. So that way, if you are really fast with your predictive arrows or predictive fireball, you hit the entire Minion Horde instead of only a few minions. Number 2 wish list over here is the Royal Recruits. Please make them cost 7 elixir. As I've already mentioned before in this video, that should have been the original nerf way back in July, and almost everyone knows it. Moving on here, the Giant Goblin came out in September. I think it's a pretty cool card, but there's no denying that it is a very underwhelming card in Clash Royale. So in my opinion, I would give the Goblin Giant a pretty moderate health buff to make it actually worth the 6 elixir. Honestly, I think it is a pretty cool card, and I really want to see it being used in the meta. Moving on here, guys, we have the Snowball. This is a pretty controversial idea. I asked on Twitter before what people thought. A lot of people kind of weren't happy with this idea, but my idea for the Snowball is to make it one-shot goblins. Now, I know that's crazy. Guys, but the log is already 2 elixir, and that one-shots goblins. Why can't the Snowball do it as well? I mean, the Zaspal has reset ability, which has so much utility in the game. The Snowball, in my opinion, could be able to one-shot goblins and still be at a competitive level with Zaspal and log and not be too overwhelming OP. I could be wrong on that, guys. No idea, no stats to back it up. Just a random idea to buff the Snowball. It has been a very underwhelming card since it was introduced back in June. Moving on over here is the Giant Skeleton. A few of you already know my idea for the Giant Skelly, and that idea was to convert it into a win condition, make it cost 7 elixir instead of 6. That way it's different than Giant and different than Goblin Giant when it costs 7. Change the stats accordingly to make it worth 7 elixir, give it a good health buff, but make it only target buildings. Because as of right now, like, the Giant Skeleton is a cool defensive card with that Giant Bomb shutting down everything on defense. However, it doesn't have the greatest counter pushing or offensive capabilities, which honestly, when you use a Giant Skeleton deck, leads to a lot of draws. If you make the Giant Skeleton a win condition, it is a lot easier to use on offense. Now, I know what you're saying. The Giant Bomb does crazy damage. That is a crazy idea. It would be absolutely broken and overpowered. What they could do is they could do a similar thing to the Miner and spells. They could make the Giant Bomb deal less damage to towers. As it is right now, Miner, for example, is super easy to get to a crown tower. The Miner actually does less DPS versus a tower than it does versus units. Same thing for spells as well. they can do the same thing with the giant skeleton to make sure it's balanced and not too overpowered. And the other reason I think this is a somewhat kind of cool or a good idea is all of the other giant troops in Clash Royale are all win condition. Giant, Royal Giant, and Goblin Giant all are win conditions as well. So it might make sense having the giant skeleton be a win condition as well. However, two arguments that I've seen against this idea. Number one is if you make it a win condition, it will lose a lot of its defensive powers because on defense, it'll walk past all troops and they'll ignore the giant bomb. That is true, that is true. However, when it loses on defense, it gains so much on offense. And the second argument was, Shane, the giant skeleton isn't a giant troop, it's a skeleton. It is giant skeleton, not skeleton giant. All right, so if that is an argument, just change the name from giant skeleton to skeleton giant, and that way it can be a win condition with all of the other giant cards. Now moving on my list, guys, the next buff idea that I have over here is for the Zappies. The Zappies used to be one of the strongest cards in Clash Royale. They changed their kind of mechanics in the September balance update, and since then they have fallen very far on their stats. Looking at RoyaleAPI.com here, guys, the Zappies right now have a 2% use rate and a 43% win rate. That is almost near the bottom of the list. They are, in my opinion, a very weak card right now with the change to their initial attack speed. What I would do is I would give them a very small buff to their initial attack speed to help bring them somewhat back to where they used to be. Obviously, before, they were a bit too strong, but right now they are definitely too weak of a card. Moving on, guys, we have a buff to Lightning Spell. Lightning Spell is the only spell in the game right now that you can actually counter. Like, if your opponent has Zap, Fireball, Rocket, Poison, Arrows, there is nothing you can do to protect your cards against those spells. So why does it make sense that Lightning Spell is the only card in the game that you can actually counter? And what I mean by that is if you're facing off against 2 Musketeers, for example, you go ahead and use a Lightning Spell on the Musketeers, it takes a half second to go down. In that half second, your opponent places a Battle Ram in the Musketeers, and boom, all 3 lightning shots on the battle ram, the Musketeers survive. You can't block that with any other spell in the game. So why would the lightning spell, have that blocking mechanic? What I would do, 2 ideas here. Number one is make the lightning spell choose all 3 targets as soon as it's used. That way, if your opponent uses a card afterwards, it'll hit whatever it initially targeted. Or to change the battle ram and make the lightning spell not target the barbarians that spawn out after the battle ram. And the last change here on my balance wish list is another controversial one. So feel free to leave your feedback on any of these ideas, guys. Like I said before, I'm not a pro player. I'm just a nub in this basement making videos. But my last idea here is for the 3 Musketeers. And what I would do is I would change their spawn timer to 2 seconds. That way, it's a nerf and a buff at the same time. Right now, if you're down 1 tower and your opponent drops 2 Musketeers on your side of the arena, they almost instantly target your tower, doing insane damage. If it were 2 seconds, it would give you a bit longer time to react and defend yourselves, and it would also make using the Musketeers a bit riskier when they're used kind of closer up to the river in an offensive position, making it much easier to spell them. However, it is a buff because if you use it behind your king tower, it gives you 1 second longer to build up elixir for a bigger push. I mean, as it is right now, 3 Musketeer decks in Clash Royale are extremely powerful, some of the strongest decks in the game. I don't think it would kill the card at all. They'll still be a powerful card in Clash Royale. Just makes it a bit easier to manage. Now that is the end of my balance change wish list over here. I have 2 final cards that I want to mention before ending the video. The first is the Royal Hogs. I know right now the Royal Hogs, they're pretty strong. It's no secret. They are a very strong card in Clash Royale. I don't actually want to see them nerfed. Personally, because I think they're a cool card, and I'm happy that we finally have another viable win condition in Clash Royale. And second, because I'm scared that if they did nerf them, they would be nerfed too hard, and then they wouldn't be viable at all. So I'm kind of okay with the Royal Hogs being in the game. Like, the Royal Hogs aren't everywhere. They work pretty well in certain decks, but there are a bunch of other meta decks that work as well. It isn't only Royal Hog, so I'm definitely okay with how they are as well. And the last card, guys, I want to mention before ending the video here is the Barbarian Barrel. What about Barbarian Barrel, Shane? Why don't you want to see it buffed as well? Honestly, at this point, I have no idea what to do for the Barbarian Barrel. They keep changing it over and over. Like, it was introduced way back, I think in March was introduced. And it's still like the bottom of the bottom of viability in Clash Royale, even after several changes in a row. They keep buffing it, changing it, reducing the elixir. Honestly, at this point, guys, I have no idea for the Barbarian Barrel. Maybe just delete it from the game because I don't know. I have no answer for that one. It's been in the game for several months now and has never seen a place in the meta. I don't know what to do for it. So that is the end of my balance change wish list. To summarize, we have a Minion Horde slight nerf, Royal Recruit buff, Giant Goblin buff, Snowball buff, Giant Skeleton change, Lightning Spell buff in a sense, Zappy's buff, and a 3 Musketeer buff / nerf. Let me know, guys, what do you think of my list? Do you think it's crazy? Did you disagree with anything on my list? If so, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I am always open to feedback. Like I said before, I am not a pro player in Clash Royale. I'm just a nub in this basement making videos. So some of these ideas might be the worst ideas ever. If so, I'm sorry. I just wanted to share with you guys some of my ideas. Also, before we end the video, I have a note here on my balance change wish list. It says, P.S. Please destroy Giant 3 Musketeer bait spam. I know what it is, guys, but right now that is the only deck in the game that is absolutely driving me crazy. You know the deck, right? Giant Pump, Goblin Gang, Minion Horde, 3 Musketeers, Battle Ram, etc., etc. That deck is right now like the only deck that drives me absolutely absurd. Number 2 would probably be Mortar Bait. I don't know what it is about bait. Like, Goblin Barrel bait is fine. I'm okay facing Goblin Barrel bait decks. But when you have like Minion Horde, Goblin Gang, Spear Goblins, Bats, like that kind of bait, I don't know what it is. It's just absolutely crazy right now. But guys, that is the end of the video. Feel free to leave your own balance change wish list down in the comments down below. What do you hope to see changed in the October balance update? Also, do you agree with me on the whole Ice Wizard versus Royal Recruit situation, or are you happy that they're buffing the Ice Wizard? And also, I do want to apologize once again for the mini rant at the beginning of this video. Like I said before, I'm just passionate about this game. I just can't understand why the Ice Wizard buff would take priority over the Royal Recruits. But guys, that is the end of the video. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe for more Clash Royale content. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We will see you in the next one.